Brad Johnson here from johnson.audio, and today I'm going to talk to you about what nobody else is talking about when it comes to recording music, and especially recording music from your home. Now, this video I'm going to touch on really just the fundamental concepts of recording music and what you need to understand when you move forward in recording music from home and doing it yourself. This is for those songwriters out there, for those musicians who really are just trying to get a grasp of it and are wondering why their songs aren't sounding like the ones on the radio. And I'm getting a lot of questions about mixing. I'm getting a lot of questions about, which DAW to use, or, I'm thinking about going to this DAW and which not. And all these things play a part within recording, but I really think that those questions are really actually deeper, and that it's really just a misunderstanding of what recording is and what it's all about and what you're actually doing when you're taking your song and turning it into something that comes out as speakers. I think now when everything's moving in the box, meaning it's all in the computer, we really start to think that, I need this tool, or I need this plugin, or I need this amp simulator, or this drum thing, or whatever it is, because let's face it, there's a lot of marketing happening, and marketing is trying to get you to buy their thing, making it feel like you don't have enough to make something happen. Now, with that being said, though, there are things that you need to understand, and there are things you need to have the ability to make professional recordings from your home. And I think that if we really stop and ask ourselves, what's actually going on underneath the hood, do we really understand what's going on? Do we really understand, signal flow? Do we really understand gain staging? Do we really understand why we want to put an equalizer on something or a compressor on something, and what is it that we're trying to actually accomplish? There's a lot of how-tos out there, and how-tos are great. They make you feel inspired. They make you feel like, okay, I want to get into my DAW and I want to try this how-to. But unfortunately, how-tos, especially within the music world and in the recording world, aren't very helpful. Unless if it's a how-to not blow up your preamp with hot swapping, then it's really not going to be very applicable within your home studio, because the source material is different. The end result is different. Whatever it is, you could do a how to, make a really good acoustic recording, but a mic placement is only, a quarter of the battle. It's what microphone you're choosing. Is that microphone actually being routed into your, preamp correctly? Are you getting the right gain staging? Are you, getting the right signal to noise ratio? Are you getting all those things correct? And this isn't a video to talk about what that exactly means. It's just know that there's so much that goes into it, and it's all about the first and to the last part of the process. Mixing is just the last 20% of the process. It's when you've done 75% of the work, and now mixing is just bringing up those faders, and all the stuff's already playing off each other because you've arranged right. All the sounds sound good because you did your recording right. You chose the right microphones. You got the right performance, and you did the right editing. And now mixing is just making sure that you can carve out all those sounds and put it into its space and make the song dance. And then mastering is like that last 5%. It's that last polishing coat. I have a video on this that explains the entire recording process, and I'll have that linked here so you can check it out. But you have to understand that recording at its essence is just taking sound waves, turning it into electrical current, bringing it down, from a microphone, bringing it down a cable into your preamp, which then goes to your converters, that goes into your computer, and then you're going into your DAW. If you're not understanding just the basic concepts of recording, you need to just figure that out, and you need to really start to understand what's going on, because it's going to make your life easier. It's not just about having the right DAW. It's not just about having the right plugins. In fact, your DAW really is just a central station to where you're able to just work with everything that you've created from your song, recording it, and now it's in your DAW. So now you can do some editing, you can do some touch-ups, but you really shouldn't be focusing on your DAW as the thing that's going to make a bad recording sound good. You have to figure out how to make a good recording first, and that's going to come and play with your room. It's going to come and play with your microphones and what kind of cabling you're using and what kind of preamp and interface. All those things make a difference. So you have to understand they're all pieces to a piece, that their signal flow, there's things going through different processors. If you look back in the analog days, you'd have your microphone. That would be connected to a cable. That would be ran to a preamp, probably in a console. That would then go through the channels of EQ and compression, and maybe you'd have some inserts that would then run into a tape machine that where it'd be recorded to. And there's voltage and current that's going through all of that you need to control. That's affecting the sound either in a good way or a bad way. And this is why good processors, they add pleasantry to the signal. And nowadays we have it a little bit more streamlined. We usually just have one box called an interface, which has the preamp and the converters in it that we're able to then, run our microphone with the cable into that interface, which will then take our mic signal up to line level, which is what the preamp does, and then takes that electrical current and turns it into a digital signal and runs it into our computer. Now, if all of that isn't being done right, doesn't matter how much you do in the box, so to speak, or in your DAW, you're not going to get a very good recording. And then you have to think about arranging. How does everything play into each other before we get to that mixing? This video, is really the rabbit hole, but you have to understand that there's so many different just fundamentals that you need to get, and you need to really just know that it's not just about one piece. It's about a bunch of pieces working together, and you are the master. You're the one controlling all those pieces, and you have to know what's going on at each step of the process. And then from there, you're going to be able to make great recordings from home. Now, one little thing I'd like to add to this is that there's a lot of, teachers or a lot of, YouTube channels out there that say that you can do this all on a budget. And yes, you can. You can get all these pieces for pretty cheap nowadays and be able to do everything. But I would highly encourage you to really stop and think about your needs as a home studio producer, musician, songwriter, and think about, what's the long game for you? If you're doing a lot of just vocal recordings, then you need to stop thinking about so much of the plugins and so much of your DAW and start thinking about your microphone, start thinking about your preamp, start thinking about those things that are really going to enhance your vocals. Start thinking, if you're a guitar player, think about what kind of microphone is really going to bring out the detail in your guitar playing. And then think about what kind of preamp is going to then accompany that microphone in a really good way and get you a solid recording. Because then you can use whatever you want within the DAW and it's still going to sound good. You'd have to really try hard to make it sound bad by really misusing your EQ or your compressor. For some reason, you're throwing on crazy, like bit crushers and stuff on your guitar. It's really knowing that there's the steps of the process and understanding it and knowing what's best for you and thinking of the long game. I will not be a proponent of saying you can just get entry-level gear. That'd be like saying if you're a guitar player and you have a basic, PV starter kit, and you should never upgrade it. You should just play on that for the rest of your life because it's a guitar and it makes sound. That to me seems ridiculous. Having different types of guitars or investing in a really good guitar that has really good tone is going to be something that you can grow into and something that you're never going to want to replace because at the core of it, that guitar sounds really good. Now it's just up to the user to really learn how to make that thing sing because it can. So it's really just about learning the steps of the process, learning how to control those steps of the process, know how to actually manipulate it to what it is that you have in your head and to be able to bring it out through your speakers. I hope that this video made sense. It's kind of a bit of a rant video, but I really just want people to understand that there's a lot of marketing out there. There's a lot of stuff telling you need this and that to get, X result, but really it's just understand recording at its basics and fundamentals and then build up from there. All right. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, for some reason, you can give me a thumbs down. I can handle it. If there's something you want me to clarify, that is what the comments section is for. Reach out to me. Ask me your questions. I would love to help you. I would love to make sure that I can help cut out time and frustration in your journey to making great recordings from your home. Please, I will respond to every single one of you guys, good and bad. All right. Well, again, my name is Brad Johnson. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. I appreciate all my other subscribers and your continued support, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.